and welcome to BronxTalk. Well, April has turned to May, and around here that means one thing, Bronx Week. In the past, of course, this meant a week of events, but in reality now we should just call May Bronx Month, because there's so much going on in addition to the Bronx Ball, the Walk of Fame inductees, and more. So tonight the president of the BXEDC is here to talk about Bronx Week, but also an exciting contest for Bronx entrepreneurs, small business support, and much more. He's a friend. Please join me in welcoming the president of the Bronx Economic Development Corporation, the always affable Rob Walsh. Nice to have you with us.
Gary, thank you for having me. Really appreciate it.
And I know you are as busy as a person could be I would say this week, but this month, and it's pretty exciting. So let's see. Bronx Week is here. What are the highlights for you?
Well, the big highlights, we have a new addition to the Bronx Week, which is the BX Factor, which we'll talk about, which is an entrepreneurial
so that's
project.
part. I didn't even realize that was part of like this whole extravaganza.
We decided instead of handing out another plaque and another award, we were going to have a contest that highlights and profiles small businesses, entrepreneurs, the makers who make the Bronx great.
Okay, what I want to do is let's put up, we have a calendar of the big events.
Fantastic.
So we want to put that up on the screen. So let's see, there's the Labor's Breakfast. There's see, I said it's not a week, it's like a month.
Yeah.
The Labor Breakfast, the Bronx Bankers Breakfast, the Veterans Appreciation Event, which is personal to me because I MC it every year. Then on the 18th, of course, the Gala Bronx Ball, and then when everybody wakes up the next morning, they get on Marshall Loop Parkway and go for the Bronx Week.
And there's much more. And what we've been doing, and if people go to our website, ilovethebronx.com, they will see a list of many more activities and events, walking tours, exhibits, art exhibits that are opening up, Bronx Community College, a 5K run. What we've decided to do is not just our organized events, but everybody's events.
Well, it's the Bronx.
Listen, it's the Bronx, and that's exactly.
One of the things that I was excited about, and I have been here, as you know, and we all know, a very long time, the Bronx Walk of Fame. So they put the little plaques up, on like right by the county courthouse, and that's where they have the ceremony. And then they move them all the way down the concourse. There are many times that I've been either walking or driving down the concourse, even in a bus down the concourse, and I look up and I try to see the names. The plaques are a little small. I say, gee, where's my buddy Bobby Sanabria? Is he up there? Where's Ed Cranepool?
Boy, you're good.
Well, listen, we've been doing this a long time, and you can't see them. Ladies and gentlemen, the drum roll. Rob Walsh has a solution here. We're doing something new.
We are refurbishing them all 138th from 161st Street down to 138th Street, and obviously we're going to be expanding on that, and they should be up at the end of this month.
Really?
All done. We're working with DOT. We'll have all of them. And here's the other thing we've done. On the Bronx Walk of Fame website, you could have all of the bios. We've added all of the bios because some people, unfortunately, don't know who Ed Cranepool, number 7 for the New York Mets is. Who
are those people?
Right?
And they didn't know that he went to James Monroe High School.
And they didn't.
Listen, I got to tell you something about that. I'm sorry. When he was inducted, my father had been a teacher and principal at James Monroe. So I stood with Ed, and we together hoisted his banner.
And there's powerful stories
all the way down
up
there.
and down.
Of course, personal stories.
And I tell you what, the other thing I want to do is this summer into the fall, I want to create an app that you could download, and you can listen to the bios.
Wow.
Going down the strip, whether you're coming to a game for the Yankees, you're a school trip, you're a seniors group, or you're
so
a resident.
it would be like live as you go down.
That's
wow,
right. Yeah.
That's pretty cool.
And
I would also encourage people to ride our Grand Concourse. What a nice thing.
Yeah, and it is a nice thing, and it's something that the staff has put together. I'm taking credit for their work, but I guess that's the way it goes. And
that's what the president is supposed to do.
And it's a good thing for the Bronx.
So let's talk about the BXEDC's version of Shark Tank.
Yes.
You call it the BX Factor?
That's where you are. That's where you call
it. And so this is part of Bronx Week, Bronx Month.
Okay.
What is it? Let's get into it.
Well, it's similar to the Shark Tank. It's similar to a number of other pitches. We'll have 5 finalists, which we have selected now. They will appear
Can
at
we
Yankee
put them
Stadium.
on the screen who they are?
You can.
I mean, it's out there.
It's out there.
All right, let's put them up there.
I don't have a problem with that.
All right, so let's see. We've got the five.
They will all make their elevator pitch, if you will, 90-second elevator pitch, and then we have a list of judges. Misha Porter is one of them. Winston Peters from Manhattan College Entrepreneurial Program, and a banker from Santander Bank. Those three will ask questions for 3 or 4 minutes. About their business plan, about their connections to the Bronx, and then they have the hard part: is picking one winner to present a $10,000 check to.
And the others will get some.
Yes, right. We will have.
I really want to celebrate the 5 businesses. So there is, let's see, Bronx Native.
Bronx Native, a great
one.
one.
My buddy Morris.
Yep.
Is there? Gomez Design is a creative agency. Green Canvas Production is a film production company. Mario's Italian Restaurant, who hasn't been there on Arthur Avenue. And now that's Scigents, is that what it's called?
That's right.
Scigents is a scientific innovation and technology company. They were selected from a pool of more than 100?
More than 100 people. We had a tough choice to make, and we had a group that...
You probably made more enemies than friends.
Well, I guess that's the business. But, but the important thing is, we have a look at those 100, and if you look at that list of the 5,
right.
Look at the diversity of those. You have a technology company, you have a legacy company, you have a film company. This is wonderful, and this is what we wanted to do, is highlight the fact that the Bronx is a place where people are putting a stake down and growing, or they've been here for, as in the case of Mario's, for a very long time, and they're going to stay here. And that's a good thing.
Serving the borough. To me, what we seem to be doing all the time is redefining or continue to define the Bronx, because nobody else knows who the heck we are. So if we don't do it, who else is going to do it? I mean, that's the way I look at it.
And to put a spotlight, again, on these companies and making sure that we are serving those companies, and when they want to grow, they're going to grow right here in the Bronx.
One of the things I noticed on the press release about the BX Factor was the mention of the New York Yankees. My sense is, from sitting on the outside, that the Yankees now are a little more excited about being involved with the EDC and the borough of the Bronx.
You're right on. The Yankees have been, and as evidenced by the BX Factor, who wants to not go to Yankee Stadium to present, their ideas?
So that's where it's going to be presented?
It's going to be at the Cathedral of Baseball, right? But more than that, Brian Smith has come on our board. He's a senior vice president of the Yankees. He is constantly challenging me when we start talking about how we are promoting, how we are marketing, how we are developing, and he picks up the phone and has been extremely helpful on a wide array of issues.
You told me that you make this suggestion here, and then he says, "Oh, we really ought to do it here because, of course, they're the world champions, and that's how they see the world."
And that's the great thing about an active board. Board members sitting around, sharing information, and I often go over with Brian with a cup of coffee and say, "Brian, I have this idea. What do you think?" And this is how the Bronx Beat started. He said, "I have an idea. I'll get the Yes Network people involved." We went out to 9 different locations last year. This year, we're going to go to about a dozen different locations. Wow. We just shot City Island. I think you already heard about it.
I did hear about it because I was out there. Yeah.
And when you're looking at a game and you're watching the jumbotron, and maybe you're not familiar with the Bronx, and you look up and you say, City Island's an interesting place.
You made the assumption that people know what the Bronx Beat is. The Bronx Beat is a new Yes
program. I thought everybody knew it. Yeah.
Well, that's why we're here, to make sure they know. So the Bronx Beat is a Yes program?
A Yes program that it airs before the games on the network, and then they put the tape up on the Jumbotron, before the game.
If your responsibilities, or part of your responsibilities, is to promote the Bronx and get people from outside the Bronx to know not only is it Yankee Stadium, but there's something else. Here you got people from all over the world that come to Yankee Stadium, and they're going to get a taste of the Bronx. They're going to get the Bronx Beat. That's pretty exciting.
And what we're doing is we're mixing large and small. So it's the Botanical Garden, and it is Throggsneck's, Main Street.
East Tremont.
East Tremont. And we're Mott Haven, and the Bronx Zoo, and we're really mixing it up, and that's exciting.
Listen, it's so important for people to understand that it's not only Yankee Stadium, the Garden, and the Bronx Zoo. That, of course, it's our beautiful neighborhoods. And
people want to come. People want to come out. They want to see the best of the Bronx. They also want to find hidden gems that they could say, this place has the best pizza, or this place has the best. That's the great. And if you could tap into that.
Absolutely. Yeah,
that's pretty powerful.
That is pretty powerful, and to me, it's part of a larger picture of what we've been doing on BronxNet and what I've been doing sitting here all these years, is to let them know who we really are, because I still say we're like undiscovered territory sometimes. Let me ask you about this Community Advantage Loan Fund.
Yes,
I know you're very proud of this. You're very happy about it. When the pandemic hit, there were loans, there were the PPP loans, all of that happened. Many businesses benefited, some didn't know how to maneuver it, so you dealt with that. But now that all that stuff has expired, but small businesses still need help. That's my introduction without asking a question.
And it's a tough one. We have our first round of loans going out to a laundromat, a printing shop, a auto repair shop, and a T-shirt screening place.
This is the grassroots of my hometown, my friend.
This is the grassroots, and you know what? They need 50, they need 75, they need $100,000, and they often will go to a traditional bank, and unfortunately, bankers will tell them the loans are too small, and I'm not going to get a great return on investment. And this is important. But I tell you what, it's also uncovered that we have to, BXEDC has to do a lot more. We have to come out with other packages so we're hitting even more small businesses.
Because the need is so big.
Need is big, and many of those businesses need additional technical assistance and help to get to the starting line. So we'll reach out to a business and they'll say, I'm not going to share my tax returns. Well, if you don't share your information, we can't help you get a loan.
Right.
Or they don't have a business plan.
Because I have to interject, because there is such suspicion, and because many of them, and let's be honest, have been beaten in the past or said nobody really cares about us. It's a little Dominican bakery somewhere.
And this is where we have to work on it. We got to work on that relationship. So we're going out, boots on the ground. Raphael Roger. He's the best at this, and he has roots in this borough that are so deep.
That's with the Bronx Initiative Corporation.
That's right, Business Initiative Corporation.
Business Initiative. Okay.
And he's the right guy to help open those doors and make things happen. We also have a proposal into the city to allow us to run the business solution centers. And if we run the business solution centers,
allow the BXEDC to run.
That's right. If we allow those, we'll have a wide array of services that we could end up providing.
These are city-run?
City-run, 3 years, 1.3.
And so rather than have it come from downtown in the mayor's office, it should be grassroots.
Or an organization that is not familiar with the Bronx, and this is a contract. We are more than a contract. We have relationships with the business improvement districts. We have relationships with the chambers. We have relationships with the anchor institutions. Give us an opportunity to run it.
Did I get the number right? There was $10 million in this fund?
We put $10 million in. You don't miss a trick.
Well, I'm trying. We're trying. And so you announced 3 recipients.
We have 4. We have four recipients. We have 4 that we are announced.
So here we go. For friends and neighbors who have businesses, what do they need to do to apply? How do they get to you or Raphael?
They should come to our website, bxedc.org.
Right.
And the information is right there, and we will have someone that reaches out to them.
And if you really have questions, you can pick up the phone or you'll get a call back.
We follow up with every single person.
Do you find that there are neighborhoods that are, in terms of small businesses, worse off than others? Or are we really across the board, every small business, they're trying as hard as they can?
That's a good question. I have been focusing a lot because the empowerment zone money was earmarked towards the South Bronx.
Right, it was empowerment zone stuff.
Right, but it's not necessarily just for that, because it's also the adjacent areas. And we're looking at all of the Bronx. If a small business needs a loan, we're out there, going to help.
I don't have the map in front of me to see exactly at this point where we did when the empowerment zone happened, but where the empowerment zone is. But if there's a borderline, the people on the other side of that borderline really have the same issues as the people in the empowerment zone. Let's be realistic about that.
Realistic, and it just varies in terms of the sectors, and we have that all mapped out. We have computerized that. We have followed it up. We know every zip code of every person who has inquired about a loan, and we have broken it down.
BXEDC.org is the way to do it.
You bet.
You know, we were just talking about this briefly before we went on the air. Food insecurity is out there. Some neighborhoods have more access to fresh foods and big grocery stores. Other neighborhoods don't. I'd love to get my arms around what we need to do with grocery stores. So I'm not asking you a question. I'm just not sure how we're doing and can we do better. We have the largest food market in the world. Seems to me, we're using farmers markets. Those work out very well for the neighborhoods that have them. So just open-ended, what do we do with grocery stores?
It's a real struggle when you think about it, because a lot of people are relying on things other than grocery stores now. Fresh Direct, e-commerce, the bodega on the corner, and piecing it together. The difficulty on grocery stores, large grocery stores, those 10-aisle grocery stores, is the footprint. And finding a footprint where you could end up putting a grocery store. Now, EDC has been playing with incentives.
City's EDC or the BXEDC?
New York City's Economic Development Corporation, about providing incentives if you put grocery stores in. I'm not sure how well they're working. I still think we have a real void in grocery stores. I was happy to see when I...
In some neighborhoods, let's be clear. Yeah. Some neighborhoods, do have
But
access.
I was happy to see that a grocery store was opening up. I was on the Concourse and Fordham Road the other day.
Right.
And I looked across the street, and lo and behold, a good-sized grocery store is opening up
right there
on the
like
corner.
I want to know where
the bank is, the old bank.
Wow. With the Dollar Savings Bank.
Yes.
Wow.
Right at the base of that. And I'm thinking,
wow, what a great spot.
What a fantastic spot. It's
accessible by bus, by train, and of course the neighborhoods right there need it. It's funny, so we'll look at that neighborhood. You got that neighborhood that goes down to Webster, which is like any other Bronx neighborhood, the neighborhood that goes toward Bainbridge. Where do those people get their groceries? Now maybe they'll have a chance to go to a nice big
And I went to Fordham twice, right, undergrad and grad, and I remember as a grad student trying to find a grocery store in the neighborhood. I did not live on the Belmont side. I lived on the Marion Avenue side. And it was tough to find a grocery store.
That's firsthand about the neighborhoods I was just talking about. That's exactly what I was thinking. I'd never thought about that neighborhood specifically because it always had been a shopping district. But there's tens of thousands of people who live there.
A lot of large buildings, but no grocery
And getting
stores.
the fresh food is a challenge because it's got to be fresh. Let's just talk about another aspect of development, the new Metro North stations. We're happy about them coming to the Bronx. But there is concern about what is the nature of the development. Is it going to be positive development? Is it going to be housing that is going to be for our people? Where are you at, and what's your vision of how that's going to work?
Well, I want to break it down one by one, right? You have Hunts Point, Parkchester, you have
Van Nest and Co-op City.
Van Nest, that's
Van Nest
Morris
and
Park,
Parkchester.
right?
And
Morris Park, and then Co-op City.
Yeah.
And I think the easiest one is going to be Morris Park. Morris Park because of the developments around it, the hospital, the hotels, the Mercy University. And it feels good, and Hutch Metro, and they're gonna plan it right. They're gonna do it right. You got a first class, developer who knows how to do that.
So we're looking at like what is that? Stillwell Avenue and Eastchester Road. Those are areas that are going to be carefully dealt with,
cultivated.
He got the right word.
Right, cultivated.
Yeah.
And the key thing is the other 3 sites. You know, are we going to get it right? How many times have we not gotten it right?
Don't even ask me.
Right on.
I've been sitting here for
you know,
a lot of it.
You put a train station down. I think of the one at Melrose, and we missed the opportunity to blend it together with, you know, the surrounding neighborhood, whether it's housing, whether it's open space, whether it's, you know, a coffee shop that you could have a cup of coffee before you get onto the train while you're waiting for Metro North. All of these things in terms of leveraging transit-oriented development.
We had Dan Gorodnick from the Department of City Planning here.
He's a good one.
And well, I'm happy to hear you say that, because he promised, sitting in the seat you're sitting in, he promised that they would do a lot of listening so that they would get it right. And you're just, I guess, confirming that you feel comfortable that they're really going to listen to.
Well, I know his background. You know, he's, as a councilman, as someone who ran a nonprofit, and now at city planning. So I like Dan, and I think Dan will do a good job.
Mayor's City of Yes. It's been an interesting discussion. I think having the discussion is among the healthiest things, because at least it's out there. But there are concerns, things like building housing without parking, what is going to be the nature of the commercial districts, allowing more commercial districts, again, without proper funding. I mean, I'm not sure, and I know some community boards have said yes, and some community boards are expressing concern. What are your thoughts?
Well, my first thought is a much needed amendment to a zoning law that's been on the books since 1961, 62.
Right.
There are a number, and I'm seeing this in the Bronx. Let's just take life sciences, right? The fast-growing life science business, labs. In the borough of universities, we should add. 12 colleges and universities in the Bronx, 50,000 students, a lot of, you know, hospitals, you know, first class. Those life science labs are now restricted to industrial zones. And
which separates it from the population.
The universities.
That's right.
And the medical centers.
Right.
And that means if we can't do that, we are taking a pass on jobs, and we're taking a pass on good development. I like the idea of the corner stores, of opening up, you know, some of the spaces for corner stores. I think that's terrific, and opening up some areas of, I'll call it clean manufacturing, the 3D printers, the microbreweries, which are now restricted in neighborhoods. You know, if you do it right, this could be anchors in many of our main streets, our retail corridors that are struggling.
Or, you know, to me, the word is planning, Department of City Planning. We tend to say, oh, here's a building, here's a building, here's a building, but without a plan for the community. If we're going to do it with a plan, you know, I suppose that then we ought to move forward.
But I think of this growth that has taken place in places like Mott Haven. I think of Bronx Create Hub that has 90 units of makers and artists and entrepreneurs in there. And if they want to stay in the Bronx with their product, can we open up some of these areas? Right now, in some cases, it's a no. It's a no because zoning does not permit a microbrewery. Right. Zoning does not permit a 3D printing. That is not a dirty, you know, it's a high-tech, you know, operation.
Right.
And we should be able to do that.
There's a whole housing aspect of it, which is not directly in your purview. Right. I know I can hear right away when I asked about, well, parking and housing, you went right away to businesses. That's what you do.
I go to what I know best, and I don't try to pretend.
All right, I want to do something now. We're recording this on let's see, Monday the 29th. So it's a week before we're going to announce the Walk of Fame inductees. So if my crew promises not to say anything till this airs, we're going to congratulate the honorees that you're going to announce the morning of or the afternoon of May 6th.
May 6th.
And this will air the night of May 6th. So as long as all the tens of thousands of us who are working on the show don't say anything.
If not, I am out of a job.
So is Gary.
So if you guys want a
So keep it secret, but it'll be on the air Monday night the 6th. Go ahead.
Exciting news of the night.
Let's go.
Ready? Number 1, Ozzie Virgil.
When you told me that, I was shocked. He's a ball player. He's a catcher for the Pirates, and I don't know who else he played.
Giants and Padres.
Giants and Padres, not the
Yeah.
Pirates? Somehow I remember the Pirates. All right.
He started with the New York Giants.
The New York Giants.
And he
First Dominican player.
First Dominican player, opened the
And
doors.
from the Bronx.
And opened the doors to so many other Dominican players.
I keep going.
The other is the performer Amadeus that many people in the Bronx know.
Know and love. And anyone else?
And the third is Andrea Novato, who is an actress.
And we are picking a kind of a regular citizen who has achieved. You don't want to say who it is?
I don't want to say that
right.
because that will be announced at the Bronx Ball.
At the Bronx Ball. Okay, that's
but
fair.
I have a feeling that with all your good sources, you probably have a sense of who it is.
I do have a sense of who it is, but I won't say anything, and our crew won't say anything either. Rob Walsh, listen, you brought a lot of good news.
Yeah.
Bronx Month is going to be exciting, and when he leaves here, he's got 15 other appointments. Thank you so much.
Thank you as always. This is
Great.
fantastic.
We thank also our producer, Rebecca Hemick, our director, Will Guzman, our editor is Yenelsida Diaz, the cast of thousands who will keep it quiet and work with us here in the studio. And so you know, if the curtain don't fall and the creek don't rise, I'll be here next week. Good night.